of smoke in that, you know. Let's see, we're 10, 15 miles out, but atomic bomb hit Hiroshima, and it practically devastated that most of the city, and a lot of industrial plants and innocent people, plus the service people, were killed. And we didn't get any really response right away. That was before August 15. August 15, I guess, was we dropped 2 atomic bombs. The second one, and the empire, or whatever, the emperor of Japan stated, we want to surrender. They got the news to us, and we got it aboard the battleship. And that's why we were celebrating. We didn't know they would drop the atomic bomb at that time. So that was something new that we would find out later. One other thing they said, that just continued our celebration. We continued in alert status because although they told us the war was over, we weren't really sure that the Japanese knew this. This is very necessary in the forward areas, for it takes time to notify all the forces in order them to stop fighting. We've been on the front lines for a long time too. All of us here are certainly glad that the war is finally over and anxiously awaiting to get the final word cleared up so that we can be on our way home. Somehow or other, things we wanted to tell about a few days ago didn't seem to be as important now as they did then. Oh, there was a sense of relief, because not only for us, but for the Marines and the Army. We really knew that they were getting really plastered on Okinawa and Iwo Jima. I mean, those first waves, it was terrible, you know. We lost a lot of men, Marines and Army guys, you know, especially the Marines are in there. So that made us feel good, you know, that when they had to get off the ship, you know, and the amphibious forces took them in, the guys come back, you know, and they felt sorry for them, the ones that had to go in, because they knew some of them would never come back. And if they did, some of them would be injured, you know, come back with a leg missing or an arm missing. You know, I always said, it's a blessing if you can come back the same way you left. By that I mean physically and mentally, because I thank God every day that I was spared, you know, in that respect. And it was something. Yeah, war is not any fun, I'll tell you that. Friends? Yeah, I had a close friend from Bemidji, Minnesota. He was a college graduate. He was about 6 years older than I am. And he kind of took me under his wing. And he was in the same squadron I was. And we really were close friends. At night, we'd sit on the tail end of the battleship and reminisce and what we're going to do when we get out and so forth, you know. And there's some long days we had, you know, especially if you weren't in combat. You know, you're still out there, but long days, especially when you're 90 days out to sea and you couldn't get off the ship. You know, it was like a floating prison, you might as well say, you know, but much bigger and much better than a prison, you know. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you something, what happened on the battleship Missouri. Guys would kid me about it, but it wasn't that funny to me, I thought. But I went down to sick bay. You know, aboard our ship, so big, you have a little hospital room too, you know. Have your appendix out or whatever, you know, you could get it right on the ship there, you know, that big. I went down there and see the doctor. He said, "What's wrong, buddy?" I said, "I got a sore foot." I really said, "So let me take a look at it." That was in the morning about 10:30. He said, "You come back here at 1:30 and we'll take care of it. Don't eat too heavy a meal, light, but eat some, you know, down for you." He didn't tell me what was going to happen, so I got down there. And he sat in that chair, you know, and he said, "I'm going to freeze or numb your throat here." And he said, "What we're going to do is take your tonsils out." He said, "You got tonsillitis, bad." I said, "Right in this chair here to take on, you're not going to put me to sleep?" He said, "No, we're not going to." He said, "You won't feel a thing." Wow. He said, "I'll feel, I don't know when it's numb enough." So about a half hour, 45 minutes, he said, "We're ready to go." And then I said, "I tell you, you won't feel a thing. Don't worry about it. Well, I was scared. Holy Moses. He had something like a gun or a knife, scissors or something that clip it off and shoot it in a little bottle of water, you know. I was bleeding and shit it in there. And I could see that, you know. And he'd go to the other one and do it. Clip it off and shoot it in a bottle. He said, no, that didn't hurt, did it? Wow. I said, no, it really didn't hurt, but I didn't believe you at first, you know. He said, well, it is going to hurt. When it's going to numb off, you're going to be really hurting for 3 days. You won't be able to eat food for 3 days. You won't be able to swallow. It'll be that bad. I'm going to have to put you in a hospital for 3 days. And you'll just slowly get food you can digest, you know. And my buddies would come down and sing, and they were laughing, you know. Tell me, yeah, you asked for it. You had your sore throat, huh? They took care of it. That's what I just... So that was okay, but it wasn't for me at the time doing that. When we were in the combat area, you know, we did have movies aboard the ship. And we had miscellaneous duties to do, you know, take care of the 2 scout observations, make sure they were ready to fly in good order, you know. Catapult was greased and oiled, you know, because at a moment's notice they would have to go. And when we would get out of the battle area, you know, we would have anti-aircraft gunnery practice. We had about 50 or more target aircraft drones there, and we would send them up so the destroyers especially were there at the end of the fleet, on the sides, you know, and they got the first attack from the Jap kamikaze planes. They did. We were in the middle of the fleet, the flagship, and some got through with them. I'd like to read you something about a Jap kamikaze plane that hit our ship. We knocked down about, I think, 12 to 13 kamikaze planes before they even hit our ship. But this one got through. I'd like you to read this, what was in our newsletter. A sheared-off wing lying near a 5-inch gun mount, a machine gun driven through the barrel of a 40-millimeter gun, a charred body on the deck, hundreds of broken plane parts. These were the after effects of the most determined kamikaze attack made on the battleship Missouri. The suicide pilot who drove his Zeke on the ship on 11 April 1945 had hoped to damage or cripple the ship. But beyond a small fire started by gasoline, the ship went on scratched. There's still a dent in the side of the ship where it hit. Not any officer or man was hurt. The plane attacking in the early afternoon at low level was taken under fire by the ship's guns as he made his hara-kiri run on the starboard quarter. With pilot riddled and probably killed by the terrific hail of bullets from the Missouri's guns, the plane kept boring in until it crashed into the ship's side with a few feet from the AA gunners. Not a man left his gun on the plane. Dove aboard. One wing sheared off and flew forward, landing inboard of a 5-inch gun mount, number 3, where the gasoline from the shattered wing burst into flames. Clouds of smoke and fumes were sucked into the fire room by the main ventilation intake nearby, but the fire was quickly put out by a party led by the Lieutenant Scarboy, junior officer of the deck. Damage control officers quickly assessing possible hurt to the ship found the main deck aft littered with fragments of the Zeke. A crushed remnant of the pilot's body thrown clear of the wreckage and found lying on the deck was given a burial. Some of the guys aboard ship said, why we're going to give him a burial, you know? And the captain of the ship said, hey, he had orders what he had to do. He had no choice. And the least we can do is give him a burial with some respect. So he had a little burial. And then he was given the burial. We let him slide down on the ship in the ocean, and he was gone. The machine gun was driven through the barrel of one of the ship's 40 millimeter guns so strong it had been forced to the impact Other kamikaze, spurred by a desire to avenge the Yamato, which has been sunk by planes from the Third Fleet, attached to Missouri, but none other was able to penetrate the screen of fire which the ship gunners threw up around her. They made a lot of noise. You know, planes make a lot of noise. And they try to come in, you know, not just straight, this way and that way. In fact, the one that came, the kamikaze plane that hit the Battleship Missouri, I don't know how he ever got through, but he came real low, and he's going just above the water. And we were shooting the 40 millimeter bullets, you know, pretty big bullets. Yeah, and I don't know how he got through, you know, rain of bullets, you know, like a rain of them. And he got through and crashed into the side. And I explained that, what happened, yeah. It was something. Oh yeah, it was just blowing smoke and everything, yeah. It was amazing, you know. No one left their post, no, they stayed on their post, you know. No one left their post. I mean, after the kamikaze plane, no, they all were told, stay on your post. The fire patrol, wherever we had there, took over. And when they secured it, the people on the ship, then, you know, and we were out of the combat area, you could leave your post. I would tell the young people, you know, if you want to join the service, you know, I'm a little prejudiced. I'm going to tell you, join the Navy. And you want to know why? Because you got your food and your bunk with you. I mean, somebody's got to be in the Navy. Why not you? You know, somebody's got to be in the Marine. Somebody's got to be in the Army. But somebody's got to be in the Navy so the ships can take you wherever you go, you know. They can't all fly over, you know. They take it. And I think it's good duty. Sure, your ship could be bombed and sunk, and many of you drowned. But, as I said before, I would take that chance. And I'm saying anybody that wants to join, you join what part of the service you want, but I think the Navy has a lot to offer and a good experience, especially if you like ships, you like to go cruising, you know. Yeah, it's not a cruise ship entirely, but it's good. Yeah, we will be able to get mail. They got mail to us on the ship, and we look forward to getting the mail, you know. Absolutely. I told my dad, just keep me informed what's happening at home, and I'll tell you as much as I can, you know, where I am and what am I doing and so forth, but it was nice to hear. Yeah, my dad wasn't writing much, but once in a while he wrote. Mom had to do the writing, but he would. But when my dad would write, I could tell right away that it was him, and he kind of kidded me around on different things, you know. Yeah, but in '45, late October, you know, President Truman, you know, is from the state of Missouri. That's why the peace treaty was on Battleship Missouri, because President Truman was from it. He wanted it. We had to dress up the ship, you know, and paint some of the spots out to make it look good, you know. And the morning of the surrender ceremonies, we all had to wear our whites. You know, we had two dress codes. We had the dark navy blue, and that was in the colder weather, you know. And the whites were our summer one. At that time, it was hot, so we had our whites on. And that day, our lieutenant, you know, said we had 7 or 8 guys in our Navy division. He said, I'll try to get you a place to go, or if you can work out something, you're on your own. I had a ringside seat. I knew some of the guys, signal